What's up? Welcome in on this hump day. Calm down, pervs, not that kind of stuff. Well, maybe that kind of stuff. We'll get to that in a second if you know what I'm talking about. But it's a Wednesday edition of the program, and we are full top line, ready to freaking go. Don't know if we've got the right order here. Matt could play center T. What do you think? I think outside wings were good. Center man, good. You want the old KG veteran in the center, right?
He reminds me of a nice 200-foot player there.
That was my position. So that's what I played.
200 feet of your position. That's impressive.
Yeah.
What the ladies like. Speaking of, man, do we have a whole lot of shit to talk about. Last night, I told everybody that we were going to take the approach opposite of everybody and we weren't going to bitch and whine and complain. Congratulations. Thank you for watching last night. We appreciate you. Tonight, we're going to bitch, whine, and complain and talk about the elephant in the room and the leprechauns that are not in rooms and now athletic directors trading mean words at each other, all kinds of stuff. Baseball still making me talk about baseball right now. We got some big moves today. The NHL done lost its damn mind on the ice last night. We'll get to some of that stuff. What a night. Incredible night of college hoops last night, especially at the Garden. UConn and Florida, the game, Clemson and BYU. I went back and watched that game, Mac, because you and I didn't get a chance to talk about it much because it was happening when we were on last night. This is an incredible time of the year. We have this awkward pause in between now and the start of the college football playoff. I talked to Herb from the Herb and Raj podcast today. We're cooking up some shit. We got a lot of stuff to go here, a lot of stuff to talk about. TJ's favorite quarterback back in the NFL and Flip Rivers, and you weren't with us last night, T. So what do you think of Grandpa getting off the couch trying to save the Colts season?
That is so Indianapolis Colts to me. Like I was talking to somebody today and they're like, what, was Andrew Luck not available? And I'm like, as a matter of fact, he's not available. You got to go get Phillip, or you got to go get Peyton Manning, or you need to go get I got nothing after that. Savvy move. My question is, he can't wear 17. What number is he going to wear? Is he going to wear 8 because 1 + 7 is 8? Is he going to wear 11 because that's probably how many kids he's got to feed? I don't know.
It'd be interesting. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I wonder if he came back because Matthew Stafford was right up his ass on the all-time passing yards list, and he was like, you know what? Somebody's going to need me. I might as well go back there. I think it was Greg Doyle today who asked him in his introductory press conference. And Mac, I can appreciate a guy that's honest like this. Doyle asked him, hey, obviously probably not at your playing weight, but what do you weigh right now? And he kind of laughed looking back at him, and he goes, bro, I don't know. That's an honest answer. I don't know right now. They're playing coy with it, Mac, that he may or may not start this week, and I think we're under the assumption that he's going to start because why did you bring him in for no reason? J.J. Watt gave us some interesting stuff today, Mac. Fun fact, he says, learned in production meetings. Phillip Rivers ran the same offense as the Colts for his son, one of his sons, Gunner's high school team this season. He and Shane Steichen spoke weekly about it, discussing plays and even film. So it makes a lot of sense now that we're hearing some of the other stuff about it. You posed the question last night. You got Roz already posing the question. Was Jeff George not available, apparently, Mac? I thought about it after you said that last night, and like, of all the guys available, Phillip Rivers was where we turned, but then you think about it and you're like, there's really not that many guys available.
Yeah, you can't pull fat. I guess that's all I'm gonna say. So, good luck to him. I mean, I feel, like I said, I feel bad for the Colts. I really truly do. I'm like, you've had a great first half of the season. You've hit a little bit of a slump here, and you're looking to make the playoffs. And this is kind of where you need to go. Like, in a way, it kind of says something about the NFL. I mean, we talk about all these teams like, oh, there's all these good quarterbacks and this, that, and the other thing. There's not. let's be honest, there's not all these really good quarterbacks because if they were, you could go 2 or 3 deep on your roster and you'd be okay. And I guess technically they kind of are, but you mentioned a name yesterday. What's his name? Richardson. Like, where is he in all this? What does he do?
I think he's
what is
still
he
in
doing?
time out in the corner or taking a nap, as TJ saying.
I mean, like, and I got thinking about that today. I'm like, notice in this whole thing, like, he hasn't even been mentioned. Is he? And I mean, because I don't know. I'm asking a serious question. Like, is he hurt?
I think he's still dealing with that orbital fracture from the stretching accident from earlier this season. But
Okay.
we know that they had kind of soured on him anyways. The interesting thing is the deal they gave Daniel Jones, and they gave up first round F them picks when they went and got Sauce Gardner. So now they're in a position where they don't have a quarterback and they don't have a whole lot of assets because they went all in. So I think it's interesting. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think it's going to be very interesting. I wish we could fast forward 1 week on the NFL calendar and see all 44 years of Phillip Rivers trying to run away from that Niners defense on Monday Night Football. That's going to be joyous to me. At the same time, and Billy V checking in, he kind of drops this, all joking aside. Mm-hmm. You got to fear for Rivers' just general health. I mean, he's one of the toughest SOBs we've ever seen play the quarterback position. That being said, hey, welcome back to the NFL. Oh, by the way, you're going on the road to Seattle. Good luck.
You remember, I think it was this year, they had that commercial with Dan Marino, and I can't remember who else. And they were
Jerry
like,
Rice
coming out
there.
Yeah, Jerry Rice, like coming out of retirement. Like, that's all I could be thinking. That's all I'm thinking about is like, they may have to add one more to that commercial, and it may not have a happy ending.
Well, T, this might lead us to an NFL change in the rules. We know that they made the 49er rule a couple of years ago in the NFC title game when they were basically down to Christian McCaffrey playing quarterback in that game, so you can have that non-dressed, non-rostered emergency quarterback. I think we might need to see a rule here that prevents the Browns from hoarding all the quarterbacks in the NFL season for this very reason, depending on how this ridiculous experiment plays out. But as I told Mac last night, I got to give the Colts credit. You're trying to save something that's been great, and you're holding on by a freaking thread right now, and that thread is extremely thin.
Yeah, first off, they can't be serious about starting Rivers this weekend. They can't be. You got to give the ball to Riley Leonard and at least let him start.
Isn't that elder abuse if you start him against Seattle's defense?
It's elder abuse if you put him in there against a peewee team. I mean, it's you put him up against modern day high school. It's elder abuse. Look, the Colts, and I think we talked about this almost 3 weeks ago. We talked about the Colts schedule, and I reminded you guys that the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014, and this was going to be the week that's probably going to determine whether or not the Colts are going to be able to hang around. And they got just bum rushed. Look, the Colts are a nice story, but there's a point where you just have to look at what you have and go, you know what? We gave it our shot. It ain't happening this year. Let's get ready for next year. I think we'll know. Look, I think the Colts are done, but we'll know by halftime on Sunday whether or not they're really done.
It'll be interesting for sure. Go ahead, Mac.
You know what they need to do? They need to do like the NHL and have, that emergency quarterback, like you have Uncle Rico on the sidelines just waiting.
They do. It's the Niner rule. They literally had to create it because of the Niners.
But, like in the NHL, how they have that extra goalie that's always like hanging around.
Like the geology teacher that got signed for the Sharks the other night.
Right. And just like, some guy just going to go out there like, man, Uncle Rico, I'm like relive my high school, glory days and go out and play. That would be kind of funny.
I really want to know why Chad Powers was not contacted for this opening. But anyways, let's move on to some other stuff here. I have a question for you guys, and congrats to the Mets. They went out, and our first question today was, do polar bears survive in Baltimore-type climates? Because if you haven't heard, Pete Alonso is headed to the Baltimore Orioles, who seemingly came out of absolutely nowhere. The Mets wasted no time in finding their new first baseman for the upcoming season right there. That's breaking news from us for you. Guys, I don't even know where to start with this. My phone had about 15 text messages. I've been fighting the unknown cold for 2 weeks, so if you see me with 7 different beverages over here, that's why. I wake up, at least it wasn't the effing Red Sox was one of the texts I got. Where the hell did Baltimore come from was another text I got. Interesting stuff here, because I didn't see Baltimore making this move at all, Mr. Baseball in the middle. Where the hell did the Orioles come from? And apparently they actually do want to spend money, which is contrary to what we learned last year about the Orioles.
Well, they haven't been quiet. I mean, they've actually of all the teams so far this winter, they've been one of the most active teams so far. Not only with Alonso, they went ahead and got some arms in there. I mean, this is a team that I think was really embarrassed this past season. And they're doing something about it because they know Toronto's already made some moves, and they have to compete. They have to be able to compete with that, and this is a great signing for the Orioles. This is it makes me wonder what they're going to do with some of their young talent, and I mean the name Ryan Mountcastle comes to mind. I wonder what they're going to do with him, where that puts him in this whole situation. But, kudos to the Orioles for not sitting back and deciding that, hey, listen, last year we weren't good enough. We're going to do something about it. Unlike some team in New England that continues to do absolutely nothing.
Feel free to drop your comments in if you're watching along. Follow us on all of our social channels at Mike Arana Show, everywhere but Snapchat, because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks. Also, make sure you've got that like, subscribed, or follow button smashed, because you'd be surprised. You think you're following and you're actually not. It goes a long way to helping us out. T, you blamed the Orioles last year for why the Dodgers won the World Series. Obviously, it's a great move for the Orioles. I don't know if the Orioles are necessarily done just quite yet with what they've shown us early on in the offseason here.
No, I find it hard to believe that Halsey, Ward, and Alonso are going to put this team past the Blue Jays, considering what the Blue Jays have done already, getting Cease. Not a chance the Orioles are done. They're going to try and find any way. But you know what? This is kind of refreshing, where before the Orioles were that penny pinching team that would just lose 100 games and turn a profit, and they were kind of happy. I love seeing this from the Orioles. Baltimore's a great sports city. This is good for the Orioles. I know it's bad for Mac because of the Sox, but I kind of dig what they're doing, and at least they're trying, right? Unlike a bunch of other teams, at least they're trying.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Cincinnati in close, allegedly, but didn't quite come to the financial terms as we talked about last night, Mac, with Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber came out today and said, hey, we were impressed. We liked what we heard. You have to do your due diligence in this situation. We were impressed. Now we're hearing that the Reds might have interest in either Brandon Lau or Kettle Marte of the Diamondbacks. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I think both of those guys would be great fits there, but I don't trust the Reds to actually go out and make a move. The only other pertinent baseball move today, Kyle Finnegan staying in Detroit, where he ended up last year at the trade deadline, 2 years with the Tigers, who beef up their bullpen. But then again, Mac, there's more steam to the story today that Tarek Skubel's got 1 foot in Los Angeles already.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that. I mean, it just, they've already shored up their bullpen after last year's bullpen just was a disaster for the Dodgers. And, hey, listen, I mean, the Dodgers want to win. I mean, we get sick of it because we're not Dodgers fans. But if we're sitting there and we're Dodgers fans, we're going, it's not our fault that nobody else wants to sign these guys. I mean, everybody wants to come and win. I mean, no offense, isn't that why they play? I mean, they're playing to win. They're playing to win multiple World Series championships. That's why everybody wants to go there. And it's just for whatever reason, nobody. I was talking to a guy where it's crazy to me. All these moves, not a move by the Red Sox, not a move by the Yankees, not a move by the Mets. some of the bigger teams that have quote unquote all this money and nothing being done. So, hey, hats off to the Dodgers. They deserve to win it because they're spending the money, and here's the thing, they're not afraid. They're not afraid to spend the money. And too many teams are afraid to spend the money. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Boston. These teams are all afraid to spend money for whatever reason. They don't want to go over or pay extra on the tax or whatever the case may be. Then that's fine. You're not going to win. The Dodgers, they don't freaking care because you know what? The money they make from winning the World Series and all the other stuff, they pay for the tax. Who cares? They're world champs.
Final thoughts on baseball, T, before we move into a couple more headlines. We're going to puck around and find out. We're going to play high or buy tonight. The guys don't even know that. With the 8 teams, and there's only 8 that can actually legitimately win the Super Bowl this year, some spotlight games and how to fix the college football playoff. T, the Dodgers keep doing it, and until somebody stops them, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, but Mac's right. I mean, if they're going to spend the money, let them go. I'm over the whole thing as far as people whining about what the Dodgers are doing. You know what? Maybe your team should do the same thing. But this story about Skubal has me thinking that there might be something with Ohtani that's not right, and they might be considering just moving him to first base / DH entirely. If you're going to keep stocking players like this, I mean, look at all the Sasaki, allegedly, Yamamoto, Snell, Sheehan. Like, you gotta put together a 5 or 6 guy rotation, and Ohtani might wind up being the odd guy out, and that's crazy to think.
Yeah, it is. It is very crazy to think about, and plenty of stuff will keep unfolding as we go a little bit further into the baseball winter meetings here. If you haven't heard today, our dumbass of the month, that didn't take long to find him. That's the former head coach at the University of Michigan. I knew you'd like that one, T. That's Sharon Moore, who was detained by police in Saline, Michigan on Wednesday, later turned over to a second area police department for an investigation into potential charges from the Saline Police Department. head football coach Sharon Moore has been terminated with cause, saving Michigan $12 million, effective immediately. Following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. That conduct constitutes a clear violation of the university policy, and maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. You are the head coach at the University of Michigan, and you couldn't keep your Wolverine in its cage, and now you're out of a job. I have no sympathy for your dumbass in this situation. Obviously, we're going to hear a lot more about it as it comes up in the next couple of days. But T, I'll start with you on this one. A lot of people would say, finally, it's time that a Michigan coach that was cheating got caught, and here we are. Boom, boom.
Well played. Look, when I first heard this story break, I'm just like, how dumb can you be? You are getting paid a grip of money to coach a bunch of kids playing a sport, and you have all that prestige. You've got everybody behind you. You got the job. Wasn't he handpicked for the job? I mean,
handpicked and given a 5-year contract.
Threw it all away for what? For nothing. It's a terrible story, but these stories, they're not few and far between, man. I don't know. Who's next? Who are they gonna hire now, though? It puts Michigan in a spot. Signing day's done. What are you gonna do?
Well, I mean, Brian Kelly's still out there. I don't know what the upper or the uppers accent is appropriately in Michigan, but I'm sure Brian Kelly could fake it for us. Mac, your thoughts on Michigan?
Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, everything that we kind of had seen about him, he seemed like a pretty good guy. I mean, took over a situation that wasn't good. Let's be honest. I mean, Michigan was a mess. They were going to have some probation things and the whole thing with Harbaugh, and it just, and then he even served some games he was suspended because of all that stuff. And he seemed like he had a really good attitude, had the program going in a good direction. I mean, this was a team that, had a chance and was in the running again for a good part of the year. So Yeah, it's sad to see. I know he's got a family and kids as well, and we always you got to think about that part of it too. It's not just the field; it's the off the field stuff. But just too bad that it has to happen.
Yeah, and you got Raj checking in there. I mean,
Hmm.
I would say no, it doesn't, but obviously we don't know the whole extent of the story either way. If you put yourself in this position, you're a dumbass. But as we know in coaching, there's always second chances, and wouldn't surprise me if he ends up residing in Los Angeles as a special assistant to the Chargers anytime soon, because we know how that fraternity works. Just an idiotic dumbass story. Speaking of dumbass things, why the NFL draft always takes 10 minutes in between picks in the first round? Well, changes coming to the Pittsburgh draft this year will drop the timer from 10 minutes to 8 minutes.
Ooh.
Yay,
Wow.
progress, I guess. That's going to be a wild effing scene. The draft in Pittsburgh. Philly fans get a lot of crap all the time, but when we've got the Pittsburgh football fans booing Renegade, we've got DEFCON situation for the AFC North leading Pittsburgh Steelers, Mac. I'm going to put you on the spot right now because I promised I will tell everybody the 8 teams that can win the Super Bowl later in the program. Your Steelers are in first place. They don't look great doing it. Thankfully for the Steelers, nobody else in that division looks great doing anything right now. Do the Steelers win the North?
No, they do not. It's going to be Baltimore.
T? Who wins the North? Who claims the North?
I hate those bloody towels, dude, but it's going to be the Steelers. I can't think of anybody else who even it doesn't math for anybody else right now.
No. It's going to be an interesting fight to the finish, and we're going to get to a couple of these teams a little bit later here. Our final headline to pass along, and Vegas Mac takes the stage on Tuesdays with Ticket Tuesday. He always finds the good buys and the good values for you. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag on something that we weren't sure when we were going to talk about this, but we'll say it now because we're pretty confident in this. The Mike Arana show is going to hit the road during college football.
Better than Jason.
Okay. The Mike Arana show is going to hit the road during next college football season at least one time. The 3 of us are going to be in the same place for the same game. You have been warned. Now, I say that, and this is why you want to go with me to places. Of course, I'm setting up a ticket deal for Vegas Mac, and he's not even going to be here for it. So, anyways. See, this is kind of a me and you kind of deal anyways also. But we've got the ultimate playoff environment this weekend. Villanova, who a lot of us didn't even know had a football team until Penn State scheduled them. So Villanova is in the FCS playoffs, in the quarterfinals. They will be in Stephenville, Texas. Not Stevensville, Stephenville, Texas. As Mac is back for the thing I was setting up for him. Stephenville, Texas. Tickets as low as $22 to get into the FCS quarterfinal between 11-2 Villanova and 12-1 Tarleton State. The big news here is you can get in that game for $22. So I set the Mike Arana budget in my head right here. And for $35 at this playoff game in Stephenville, Texas this weekend, I can get into the game. I can have 13 beers and 5 hot dogs, and that sounds like one hell of a Saturday. That is the ticket price and the value that we're looking for when we take this thing on the road for the first time. Are you impressed with me, Mac, for finding such a value here?
I'm back. Yes, absolutely. I love this. I know it's off the rails right now. Imagine if you had a playoff system where you had games at on campus, and you could do things like this, and I don't know, it would be amazing.
Wait, you're talking about a playoff system that actually has a set criteria and it is easy to figure out.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, enough. Hold on.
Sorry, maybe I got another call.
No,
Hold on.
I'm gonna fix it. Let me fix the logic there. Stop being logical, damn it.
Stop
Now we got
Sorry.
dogs in the
Sense.
office. This thing is headed downhill. T, that's got Mike and T written all over it. And with Mac as the designated driver, always if we hit the road, I'm seeing outside of like, I can't imagine a flight to Stephenville, Texas with 2-day notice is very cheap right now. But maybe, just maybe, if we keep dollar hot dogs and dollar beers with $22 playoff tickets, maybe we end up in Stephenville, Texas at this time next year. Who knows?
Well, I'm looking at my map here, and it looks like it's about an hour away from Dallas.
Nope. Take your map, get rid of it. Because every time you look at your map, when we're talking about a sports trip, I end up going to an Angels game with you. You drop me off at the golf course the next day, go to another Angels game, meet your wife, we drive home, and I don't even know what the hell just happened in 24 hours. So, no, stop looking at your map. Flights only. Mac, that one screams you all day long. It's FCS football. It's cheap.
It features a team from the Northeast.
I love it. I'm you've now inspired me. I'm going to see what I can do from here on out. That's a good pickup.
Yeah, see, you got to get to the beer prices.
There you go.
You got to get to the beer prices. Then you've got my attention.
All
Except
right.
in Syracuse, because I don't need to pay $4 to drink an ice block that looks like a beer. Let's get into the NHL. Last night, if you missed it in the NHL, I'm sorry. But we had the first time in NHL history last night where we had 4, count them, 4 game-tying goals within the final 15 seconds of regulation, including the game that was on the most cocaine last night in the NHL, Anaheim and Philadelphia. An own goal with 0.1 and a loss in overtime? Like, what? Or Anaheim and Pittsburgh, my bad. Same state. There we go. Now we're not going to Pennsylvania next year for that road trip. What a night on the ice, though, man. I saw the highlights of the Ducks game. We've talked about the Ducks a lot. I took a lot of flack for saying Joel Quenneville was the guy. Obviously, people in Anaheim thrilled with the situation, but an incredible night all the way across the board, and kind of interesting to see who choked them up late. Mainly you, but not looking at you or talking directly at you, Nashville Predators. They were on the list of teams that couldn't get the job done in the final 10 seconds. A great night for hockey if they would just market themselves just a little bit better, T.
Well, yeah, it always seems to come to that, right? Is like people got to know about this stuff. You shouldn't have to find it. But yeah, I mean, the Ducks are, the longer this season goes on, I mean, the Ducks are 29, the Ducks are 30 games in, and we keep waiting for them to slip. I mean, they just put 7 on the Blackhawks the other night. Now, granted, it was a very tired Blackhawks team. They looked tired. They looked tired against the Kings the night before. So I'm willing to throw that one out. But this team just keeps on winning. And it's not like they're beating slouches. They're beating good teams. And they're beating the crap out of teams. This team is very physical. This team. Oh, and by the way, did I mention that they're without their number 1 goalie right now? Because that's also kind of important.
You did on the social channels of the Mike Arana show just a few weeks ago on a Wednesday.
They're making it happen, man. And the longer this team and here's the thing about playing a bunch of kids. They have no muscle memory. They're fearless. And the more they keep winning, the more they're going to expect to win. And this core is going to be hungry. If they're still in first place 50 games in, look out.
Dude, the future of the Pacific Division looks absolutely friggin' incredible because Vegas is always going to be a player. The Sharks are all about to get their driver's licenses turned the right way so they can actually hang out in the bars with some of their other teammates. The Kings seem to always kind of be a factor. The Ducks are on a great trajectory. I mean, the Pacific Division is fantastic. Mac, this thing with the Ducks, very interesting to see. I know you've got a 5-hole coming up on Friday, so why don't you tell the folks where you're headed with your 5-hole, and what'd you think of the night last night on the ice after we got a chance to watch it when we got done entertaining the masses?
Well, a 5-hole is we're actually going to dip into the college hole this week just a little bit. So
and Sharon Moore.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It was kind of funny is that we look at, we don't talk a lot about college hockey, but I know T. You may. I'm Mike. I'm not sure if you do. I know. I know you're not a huge college hockey guy. Although I did hear a rumor that you made a hockey bet in college.
Shout out to our guy BJ behind the scenes. I needed a bet on Saturday. He goes, "You can take the under in the Michigan State game." I'm like, "Cool. I love betting on things I can't watch." But I got
There
a
you
winner.
go. There you go.
Who's that?
But
Gavin McKenna. That's all I need to know about college hockey right now.
there you go. But the conference that has the most teams in the top 10 is the Big Ten. They are. I'm coined it. They are the new conference of champions. That's what they are. That is just what they are. We're going to take that moniker away from the Pat whatever 10, 12 because they're no longer there, and the Big Ten is now the conference of champions. So that's a little preview of that.
Bill Walton just cursed you from the heavens above. You are not taking that moniker away from the rebuilt Pac-12 conference. We've got some big matchups this week. Panthers and Avalanche tomorrow night. Then the Panthers follow that with a game at the Stars on Saturday. This Dallas team, and I know you talked about it just a little bit ago, T, so I'll start with you, but this Dallas team is on one hell of a freaking roll right now. Jason Robertson has 16 goals in his last 15 games. Do the math on that one, folks. And this was about a week ago, and we had some time off for Thanksgiving, but when Dallas reached their game on the 25th of November, the only team in the NHL to have 3 players with 10 goals and 20 points each. This Dallas team now all of a sudden, T, is right up Colorado's ass.
Well, they got 4 players at a point per game. They got Rope Hintz back. But as I talked about earlier, the main guy is Miro Heiskanen. We saw last year what happened in the playoffs without this guy in the lineup. They got by Colorado, and then they got blitzed. So this team, that defense, and Thomas Harley is back now, which is really important. It's a bummer that Sagan's out, but this team, the way it's constructed, can weather that. They cannot weather a big injury to their defense.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Dallas and Colorado in the conference finals. Oh, wait, that really kind of basically can't ever happen. Mac, you've been on this Dallas team for a long time, despite what some people thought during the playoff run last year. I mean, these guys are freaking on fire right now.
Yeah, and you know what? They're doing it both at home and on the road. Their road record, they're 11-1-4, which is absolutely, amazing. The only team better, of course, is the New York Rangers, who are still looking for their third or fourth. They think their 4th win at home. But I mean that just goes that to me. With hockey's one of those things when you can go and win on the road consistently, and this is beyond consistent. This is dominating. That tells you a lot. This is a good Dallas team, and we said at the beginning of the year, that's when we talked about if their veterans play the way we know that they can, they're going to be right in the mix. And man, it's crazy. It just seemed like a while ago it was a 10-12 point spread, and boom, just like that, it's down to a single 2.
I got a question for both of you. We'll start in the middle with T. What happens first? The New York Rangers win their 5th home game of the season, or the Olympic Ice Arena gets finished? What happens first?
I'm going to go with the Rangers winning their 5th home game of the season.
It's going to be close, though.
But I mean, they're going to get all the guys. Come on, let's finish this arena up so we don't have to face the wrath of Gary Bettman.
Are you making an Italian joke at my people?
Sorry, my bad.
How dare you. Mac, what happens first? The ice rink in Milan gets finished, or the Rangers win their 5th home game? They have 3 right now. They're down 2-0 today, but they're on the road where they usually play better.
I think the ice rink, even though it may take until July, will get finished first before the Rangers win their 5th game.
Gavin McKenna is going to win his 5th first team all NHL by the time they finish that thing.
How does this get fixed? How do you fix that?
Well, seriously, you know what I would
stop hiring Mario and Luigi on your construction crew.
Get off the metric system.
I don't know. It's crazy. But you always hear those stories when we get close to the Olympics. It's well they're 6 months behind and there's 5 weeks left. Will they get it done? It's like its own Olympic event. Can you bet on that? Can we get a bet on that?
I don't know, with some of these bullshit sites that are up now that are legalized sports betting, but basically under federal antitrust suits. I don't know. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here. We got a bracket. T, you weren't here last night, so obviously I'm going to give you your first chance to chime in on this. And last night we talked about the 12 teams that were in. We even put up a graphic if you went 1 to 16 how it would be seeded. A couple of the matchups the same, a couple of them different. First thoughts before we get into how the three of us collectively are going to take over college football and fix it for good. What'd you think now that we know the 12 that are combatants in the quest for Miami? A good Cuban sandwich and a national title.
Oh, Cuban sounds good right now, but it is what it is. Like, I'm not thrilled with 11 and 12. I don't think this is the 12 best teams, but if this is what we've got, this is what we've got, and we're going to have to deal with it. But what we can't do is we can't just keep on moving the goalposts on these best 12 teams things all the time. You just pick the bloody best 12 and call it a day. I don't care if you're in the group of 5 or the SEC or Mountain West. I don't really care.
Mac, I thought about it a lot. I was very proud of us, by the way. And
Yeah.
probably won't come off very good. But last night we used this. It is the Bob Ross Positive Energy Drink. Tonight, we are not doing that because we need to talk about how to fix this effing thing. And there's plenty of suggestions out there, plenty of stuff out there. Let's start with the proverbial elephant in the room. Take a picture in your mind if you haven't gotten it already, because there it goes by. Let's talk about the teams that got screwed here. And I figured, I didn't know if we'd all have a different answer on this one, but I figured it would be an interesting kind of look from 3 completely separate sports fan brains, 3 guys from a college football standpoint that have different experiences wholeheartedly, 100%. Out of the teams, and we're going to keep it to this list. I'm going to shrink it down. BYU, Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, or other. There's your 4 choices. Mac, I'll start with you. Which team out of those 4 that I just gave you think deserve to be there the most?
The obvious one is Notre Dame. We can say what we want about what their schedule is and everything else, but the bottom line is we talked about it. We said after the second game of the season they had to run the table, and they did. And regardless of who they played, and they honestly did it in a somewhat impressive fashion, much like they did the year before. I don't think you can doubt anybody to say that Notre Dame is one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the country right now. They deserve to be in. There's no doubt about it.
See, which one off that list do you think got screwed the most? The team that you're like, I needed to see this team in the playoff and I can't.
Well, I think it's Vanderbilt. I thought Vanderbilt played the toughest schedule. They won all the games that they need. It seemed like they won all the games that they needed to win. They're an exciting team to watch. I don't know. I know they finished 14th in the last ranking, but I think that's just bad. That's bad. I think they got hosed.
Yeah, I think you can make an interesting case for both of them. For me, it's BYU, and I get it. They got stuffed in a phone booth twice by Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that think Texas Tech is the best team in the country and have a lot of money riding on Texas Tech to win the whole damn thing here. So if we're going to say they got stuffed in a phone booth on the road at Texas Tech and they looked horrible, and then they got stuffed in a phone booth in a game that's not supposed to affect you, but it looks like it affected BYU, but it didn't affect Alabama here, that's where we get into the shit of all this. BYU has put together 2 of the better seasons that they've had in a long time, arguably 2 of the best seasons that they've ever had. I'm not saying they're the best two, but they're up there. And both years, what do they have to show for it? Not a damn thing. I mean, they're going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That's a thing that is a big deal. They're actually showing up to play their bowl game. Another thing that's pissed a lot of people off this week. I think BYU has a very valid case to say, we only lost twice to a team that a lot of you think is going to win the national title. What's so wrong in that? That gets us to the real elephant in the room. What is the biggest current problem with the college football playoff? And one thing that I thought was very refreshing, if you will, on Saturday was hearing the guys on game day and then hearing it come out more and more and more. And I know they're not the first ones that said this, but it really took a lot of steam and got a lot of traction this weekend. And that was the, why are we doing this Tuesday show? Because all it does is muddy the waters even more. I think last year it was cool. We were all anticipating that first week or two just because it was new. It drummed up the excitement. But if you stop ranking teams in the preseason and you wait till week 4, and then you don't do this stupid ass Tuesday show all year long, I think it gives us a better perspective going forward because at least we're not being jaded by preseason rankings. I mean, hell, Mac, we put it up last night. The Pinstripe Bowl between Clemson and Penn State, playing at Yankee Stadium, your preseason 2 and your preseason 4. And Texas, for a long time at the end of the season, kind of had a case a little bit. And I don't think when you can look at a team, and I get it, and Mac, you said this perfectly last night, so that's why I'm going to start with you. You're going to have turd games. They're going to come up on your schedule. And that's going to happen to everybody and anybody that plays 13, 15, 16 football games. You don't lose to Florida and go to the college football playoff. For me, it's that simple. But I think the reason that a lot of people thought Texas should have been in the mix was because we're clouded because they were the preseason number 1. Get rid of the damn Tuesday show. Stop ranking teams at the beginning of the year. Mac, what would you throw out to fix as much of this as we could fix in one shot, which we know this is a multiple effort kind of thing?
I mean, I'm going to beg, borrow, and steal is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little bit from everybody. I'm going to break the everything into. Yeah, I'm going to break into regions. I'm going to have 8 regions. Break the country into 8 regions. I'm going to have 12 teams in every region. You play everybody in your region. So that's 11 games. That gives you 2 games that you can schedule outside of that, and you play everybody within your region, and you can have then you take the top 2. And you have a conference championship. The winner goes to the playoffs, and then so that gives us 8 conference champions. And then you take the next 8 top teams ranked, and there's your 16 teams, and you go from there. And I think that's just the easiest way to do it. Everybody plays everybody in the conference. It's going to give you a couple of free games to play outside of your conference. And everybody is aligned and doing the same thing. And I think that's the issue. We got to have everybody doing the same thing. You're not going to have Alabama playing Alabama Western. It's not going to happen. Those 2 games that you have, you've got to play. You want to play somebody good because you need those wins.
Hold on a second here. This is great. This is great.
Are you looking up Alabama
Western? The UWA Tigers. Go Tigers. Maybe that's where Coach O can end up. University of Western Alabama. T, how do we fix this nonsense?
So I want to start by saying that I at least appreciate that Mac has a process. And I think that's the thing here. Like,
give me a chance to get to my process.
Well, I think that's the whole thing is there isn't one. And so can we just
doesn't look like it.
Can we just have something that works out? And you know what? Some years it's going to miss and we have to be okay with it. But and I'll just give you an example. Last year in the NHL, and we know that the NHL has a process for their playoffs. It's top 3 in the division and then the next 2 in the conference.
So
It is, but it's a process, right?
Mhm.
So the Calgary Flames finished with 96 points, and they missed the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Montreal Canadiens with 91 points made it in the East. But it's a process. We know what the rules are ahead of time. And sorry, Calgary, that's tough for you, but it is what it is. Give us some guidelines. Give us a process that doesn't change.
Mhm.
Because that way, if everybody's playing by what's the games by what's expected, then you kind of lose your right to complain. Are you going to still complain when you're BYU and you're 11-2 and you probably, but at least you're like, look, here's the committee can go, look, this is what we're going by. You didn't
Right.
fit into these 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there's a couple of things here. Number one, obviously in Notre Dame's whining and complaining and opt out like a champion today, and you've seen all the memes and everything. Marcus Freeman actually posted an Instagram post today out an airplane window looking at the wing of the plane with the location dotted Cancun, Mexico, which I thought was absolutely friggin' hilarious. Brett Yormark doesn't think anything that's happening with Notre Dame right now is hilarious. The commissioner of the Big 12 spoke out yesterday and called Pete Vivacqua, the athletic director at Notre Dame's latest actions egregious, and said that Notre Dame was ungrateful, especially for how the ACC bailed out Notre Dame in the COVID year and allowed them to play in the ACC. They went undefeated in the conference. They lost the conference title game. And oh, by the way, Notre Dame still made the college football playoffs that year. Notre Dame also, this doesn't help anything. A lot of people didn't even know this, but Notre Dame has a clause in their CFP guarantees, if you will, that starts next year, that if the playoff remains a 12-team format, the Irish get a spot if ranked 12th or higher. So now we have your top four conference champions getting buys and Notre Dame automatically getting in if they're 12. So now when we do this stupid show on Tuesdays and we show who's 11 and 12 and numbers 25, 24, and 14 are getting into the field, all it does is confuse people. If the playoff expands to 14 teams, Notre Dame is automatically guaranteed a spot if they're ranked 13th or better. So Notre Dame took their proverbial ball and leprechaun their way on home. Their athletic director is claiming that the ACC did a targeted social media campaign slamming them. Now we've got these kind of pissing contests going on with, Argyle sweaters and deck shoes in boardrooms between athletic directors. It's just not a good look, period. What I want to see, we've seen this now. The Maui Invitational has been absolutely gutted in college basketball because of the Players Era Invitational in Vegas, which is an interesting tournament within itself because you could be undefeated in your pool play and still not even get a chance to play for the money prize. Why is that gutting tournaments like the Maui Invitational? There's guaranteed big-time NIL money involved with the Players Era Tournament. I love all these people that come out and go, well, ESPN's the one that's going to take it in the shorts for ruining the bowl game system. Listen, let's calm down for a second here. NIL is ruining the bowl game system, not ESPN. ESPN doesn't control the college football playoff like all you conspiracy theory dorks out there think it does. But what I would like to see, and I think this would keep players playing in these games, cool, give me 12, expand to 16, do whatever the hell you want. Give me a postseason Players Era football tournament that gives serious NIL money to these teams, and I don't think Notre Dame is the number one seed in that opts out of their bowl game, especially if you get the right partners involved in it. There are other ways to fix this outside of what our primary college football playoff is, and I think it goes a little bit with what you said, Mac, and what you said, T, but Mac, we talked about this very specifically. A guy who is actually looking for work right now, and Chip Kelly, has the best way to do it, very similar to how you laid it out. These conferences with 20-plus teams and these conferences with 12, and nobody even comes close to playing everybody in a 2-year period, that's the big problem here, instead of pissing and moaning about who gets there, Mac.
Yeah, no, and like you said, T, there has to be something, and that's what I said yesterday. Like, write it down. write down what the criteria is. And my biggest complaint of the committee was, you had Notre Dame ahead of Miami, and then all of a sudden now they weren't ahead of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them played. And they were like, well, we had to consider everything. Well, what did you have to consider? Everything was considered. They didn't play. They had already played in week 2. I mean, so it just it reeks is what it does, because you can't tell me you had to have everything figured out, or because it was already there. There was nothing. You had no new data. There was no new data. So it just very well. So spell it out to me, and that's what I said yesterday. Say, listen,
DATA.
Yeah,
POINTS.
Yeah, this is what it's got to be. We're going to go head to head. That's our number one criteria. If they play head to head, you win that game, you get it. Then come up with something else as the second thing. This is not rocket science. I mean, like I said, Division 2 and Division 3, they do it all the time. Nobody bitches and complains with their format because it works.
Well, I think we're also, not we, but I think the people who are doing this are afraid of hurting feelings. And, what are we going to do when Alabama's not in it? And what are we going to do when Notre Dame's not in it? And what are we going to do if Georgia's not in it or whatever? Sorry, you're not allowed to do. I didn't hear you guys complaining in 24 when you left Florida State out, and Florida State had all the
Florida State.
They went undefeated. So, you could put them in the they got hosed category. Look, I'm not a fan of the 12-team playoff. I think my stance on that has been abundantly clear. But we're trying to trust a committee without a process, with moving goalposts, to pick the 12 best teams when they couldn't pick the 4 best teams.
Right.
And now they're going to pick the 16 best teams? Give me a break.
Ironic, because Hunter Yurachek, the athletic director that had to step in for Mac Rhodes and be the committee chair, the thing I'll remember this committee with, obviously, is the Notre Dame Miami dilemma and argument. But I'll also remember that Hunter Yurachek thought he was funny when he went 6-7 with Reese Davis, and Reese Davis looked at him like he was speaking a different language. And ironically, it's 6 or 7 teams that Hunter Yurachek's committee screwed up in placing them all season long. Just kind of weird how that works. Now that we know the 12, guys, of course we're going to make some predictions on this program. So, we see the bracket, we see the pathways, we know where everybody's playing their second round games. We know the first round games at home. It starts a week from Friday in Norman, where it's supposed to be colder than all hell, with Alabama and Oklahoma. Final 4, national championship game, and then we'll go to champions. And the lucky guy that gets to start Final 4-wise is TJ.
I've got Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State and Mississippi.
Oh, we talked very much about Hottie Toddy last night. Mac, give me your Final 4 in this year's college football playoff.
I need to interject one thing.
No, damn you.
Yes. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
Uh-oh.
JMU Sports News. Have you seen these guys? Okay. I don't think it's affiliated with James Madison, but these guys are great. Some of the stuff that they put out. Listen to this. This is one of their tweets. Texas Tech is one of the best teams in the country. That defense is scary good. JMU football has to consider resting some of its banged up starters against Oregon. The Dukes need all hands on deck in the quarterfinals.
Jesus.
Coming into this week, we didn't even think Oregon football had fans, but interacting with Duck supporters, it has been great. Uh-oh. Oregon fans, we researched again. Dan Lanning is 2-3 as Oregon's head coach against purple and gold teams. He's 44-4 against all other team colors. JMU colors, you guessed it, purple and gold. And it goes over and over. It's the massive talent gap between JMU and Oregon is overblown. We've been grinding tape, and the Ducks are actually a lot better than people are saying. It would not surprise us one bit if Oregon kept it close in the first half. Almost for that alone, I want to root and vote and say James Madison. They're doing a great job. Give them a watch because these guys are funny.
Give me your damn 4 picks already, will you?
God, darn, that was really good. Listen, I like my final 4. That's what you want. Yeah. Indiana.
Oh, Jesus.
Texas Tech. Ohio State. And Ole Miss.
You two, I'm telling you, man, I can't wait till the first show we do after Tulane goes into Oxford and beats Ole Miss. I can't freaking wait. I get it. You guys are the sympathy card. Lane left them. Listen, these are $1 million athletes. I don't. It is what it is. It's part of the business. Tulane's going to come in there and beat them. I promise you that. I would almost let TJ out of his Chicago Bears bet if he wanted to put it on Ole Miss in that one. And T's a trooper. He's gonna take it. My final 4 doesn't follow a sympathy angle here one bit whatsoever. Georgia and Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana. There's your final 4 right there. We're gonna get a rematch of Oregon, Indiana. I think Georgia, Ohio State, which will be about 30 minutes down the road from me here in the Fiesta Bowl, because that's where that semifinal will be played. That's gonna be a freaking scene. Title game and champion, TJ, go ahead because Mac's probably looking up. And shout out, since Mac brought this up, shout out to Billy Napier for qualifying for the college football playoff in a luxury suite as the waiting new head coach at James Madison. Good job, Napes.
Dude, that dude is such a gravy trainer. It's not even a joke.
Richest
Such
man
a
in the
gravy-
history of Harrisonburg, Virginia now.
Good Lord. I've got Ohio State beating Indiana in the final.
Mac, what you got? Since you can't have your dream matchup that you were so sad about last night.
I know. I got the championship game being Texas Tech against Ole Miss. I got the Red Raiders coming out as your national champs.
He's all in. He went as far in as some West Texas oil field tycoon did on that defensive line for Texas Tech, and it's been worth every damn penny this year. I've got Oregon. I've got Georgia. Beginning of the year, I picked Oregon. I think Dan Lanning and this staff learned a lot last year and what transpired last year. And, Mac, we talked about it last night, and I talked a little bit with Herb from the Herb and Raj podcast about this today, actually. This Georgia team's got some serious, and I mean serious, Ohio State 2024 vibes to them. The one thing we kept saying about Georgia was, could they not play with their food and show up to play a game right away? And that team played like with an asshole intent of purpose to end the Alabama kryptonite thing, at least for this year, and show that, hey, we're here. All we had to do is get here, and now you're fucked. I mean, that's, and I didn't want to say it that way, but I don't know any other way to put this. Like the way Alabama play or Georgia played against Alabama, man, that team looks like they're on a purpose-driven mission right now. And I can't wait to hopefully see Ohio State and Georgia in a freaking semifinal game. Man, that's almost exciting enough to make me actually leave my house and go to the damn game. Higher bite time. I promised it. There are 8 teams that can win the Super Bowl this year. There are 32 teams in the NFL, boys. I know I'm telling you something you don't know. 9 of them have been officially eliminated already. 23 teams remain. I've eliminated 15 more teams. There are 8 teams in the NFL, and only 8 teams in the NFL that right now can win the Super Bowl. And what made me start thinking about this was I was looking through the spreads for this weekend, checking line movement, and Buffalo's favored by 1.5 in New England. Had a couple people ask me why. I gave them my 2 cents. Obviously, I know nothing about setting Vegas lines. I mean, I know a lot about it, that I find myself on the wrong side of them a lot of the time. That being said, Buffalo's favored at New England. And what that told me is this, and something that we all know every time of the year, at this time of the year, in the NFL is what we call it's puckering season. You can figure out the rest of it. We've got a lot of teams still in the mix here. But Buffalo is on the road to New England who went into Buffalo and beat them earlier this year. They are favored in this game. Okay, who am I missing that might be out for the Patriots here? I know they're banged up on their offensive line, but Buffalo's defense isn't a world-beating defense. It's young quarterbacks. And when you look at what's shaping its way out in both the NFC and the AFC specifically, and Mac, we talked about this a little bit last night, and if you had me make a pick on my AFC title game right now, it was Houston and Buffalo. Mm-hmm. We know that the teams that are successful in the NFL, they play defense, they have great special teams play, and they have solid to elite quarterback play. Obviously, Trent Dilfer was a solid quarterback. He was nowhere near elite. Baltimore's defense did the job. So here we go. When I look at the NFC, high or buy, I'm going to give you the 8, or you can take the field here. Because of young quarterbacks and quarterback play, these are the only 8 teams that can win the Lombardi this year. Matthew Stafford in the Rams, Brock Purdy in the 49ers, Jalen Hurts in the Eagles, Aaron Rodgers in the Steelers, Josh Allen in the Bills. The exceptions to the rule this year, Seattle, Houston, and Denver, because their 3 defenses are good enough to overpower poor offensive play that we could see from their offenses. Seattle's biggest thing, they can't turn the ball over like they do. So out of those 8 teams, Seattle, Houston, Denver, Philly, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo. The Super Bowl champion's coming off of that list. I guarantee it. Am I high, or are you buying it? Start in the middle of T.
I didn't hear you say Indianapolis.
It's because I did not.
No, I completely agree with you. All of those teams,
AARP is not sponsoring the NFL playoffs this year. Indy's out.
The only team that I would add to that is Detroit.
All right. Vegas Mac, high or buy on the 8 I gave you? I mean, you always play the role of Switzerland on this show, so I could see you, just because it's you, saying I'll take the field in this bet. Mainly because I included the Steelers on that list. Is probably why.
I see you didn't put the Bears on there, but that's okay. No, I'm just joking.
Young
no.
quarterbacks don't work in the postseason. See Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I said it, Packers fans. I did.
No, I agree. It's one of those 8 teams. Without a doubt.
So let's look at this weekend then in the National Football League. Chargers and Chiefs. And T, I know you've been waiting for this day for a long, long time, so I will lay the scenario out for you, specifically just for you. How do the Chiefs get to the postseason? They have to win out. Games against the Chargers, Titans, Broncos, and Raiders. The Chargers must finish 10-7 or worse. And then they also need help from the Colts, Dolphins, and Ravens. They start that pathway this weekend against Jim Harbaugh's Fighting Chargers at Arrowhead. Kansas City is a 5.5-point favorite in this game, which I thought was a little interesting after what was a very weird Monday night. Chargers, Chiefs. T, you've been waiting a long time. You take the floor on this one. This is the week. The week?
I would love nothing more than... Is this a 10 o'clock start? Because I would love nothing more than at 1 o'clock to just be able to put the final nail in the coffin of the Chiefs for this year, because they have not been right the entire year. I don't care if you're a Arrowhead fan or not. They haven't been right. And I think Houston exposed them huge, because when I'm watching that game the other night, once Houston got the lead, I never felt that they were gonna. I never felt they were gonna relinquish it. That defense was on fire, and they just forced Mahomes into mistake after mistake. And then the offense started coming up with these bizarro play calls. Like that 4th down play was like, what are you thinking? Like all of a sudden, this league is now we're gonna go for it on 4th down at any spot on the field.
Oh, you're gonna trigger Mac here.
Like, give me then this is a topic for another day, but get rid of the onside kick and make it a 4th and 15 from the 30, and let's see how many times you go for it. the Chiefs don't look right at all. And the only thing that concerns me is the Chargers did not look great on Monday night. They made Hurts turn the ball over a ton of times, but and it could have been Herbert's injury, but they don't look exactly like world beaters right now either. So I could see why it's 5.5 based on past performance, but I think the wrong team's favored here.
Yeah, the safe play for me would be Chiefs on the money line because I'm still not going to believe that they're totally done yet here, Mac. But you've been on this one the longest. I actually doubled down that the Chiefs would win the division. You've seen this one coming for a while. So Chiefs and Chargers. The Chiefs dead?
Even when you die, scientifically speaking, you still have a little bit of life left before they actually. So, my medical analysis of the Chiefs.
Dr. Vegas Mac reporting. You're going to hear that one again, folks. I can promise you that one.
This, to me, T, I would take your headphones off. To me, this reeks of a wild Kansas City win. I just don't think the Chargers are that good either. I don't like the 5.5. I don't know that I'd go there. I like Mike's play, just the Chiefs on the money line. But this just reeks of a Chiefs, double boinker off the goalpost to win.
Double boinker. How does Sherrod Moore get back into the conversation again? Anyway, sorry. Intrusive thoughts leave my face. The only way I'd bet this with them, I don't have it in front of me. T, you might have it, but I would imagine the money line on the Chiefs side of this is at least minus 200. So you'd have to put something with it. The problem is, and I think Chris Collinsworth slid in and hit this right on Sunday night. And I'm not going to say his name again because I just set it up again, is that I'd have to do this with like a Kareem Hunt touchdown and a Chiefs money line to try and get it to plus money or at least like a minus 110, something like that. Because
minus 230.
See, you got to bet 100 to, it doesn't work like that. The problem is, and I think this is the biggest thing, T, and I know you're on a pathway here. And if it's Harrison Butker, just mute your microphone. I'm not even going to acknowledge the comment. But the Chiefs stars, you son of a bitch, the Chiefs stars are not playing like stars. I mean, you got Kelsey fumbling balls into the defense's hands. None of their stars are playing. And let's be fair to the conversation here. And I know nobody wants to do this when it comes to the Chiefs. But when you go on that many long season runs, it takes a toll on you, especially with an older team here. That being said, I would still probably lean to the 5.5 because of what you said, T. I didn't like the way the Chargers played against an Eagles team that can't find their way out of a wet paper bag right now on Monday night.
What you said about the long season is important. And just to bring it back to hockey, you saw the Blackhawks play 100+ games for year after year after year. And finally, they just they ran out of gas. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs are just out of gas, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I wasn't going to go with Butker the go. I was going to go with Dicker the kicker, but I'm going Chargers on the money line on this game. And I think you watch the Chargers.
I think you can make a case. Yeah, I know. And I think you could make a case for either side of it. Bills, Patriots, we've kind of already alluded to this one a little bit. Bills 1.5-point favorites at Foxborough, over under on this one, 50.5. And obviously this is a rematch from earlier this year. If the Bills have any hope at trying to, again, we talked about the importance of this last night, Mac, and just as sports fans in general, NFL fans, like wanting to see playoff games at Buffalo this year in their last year out, and imagining the scene if they were able to find a way to host the AFC title game. And I gave you the exact way it's going to happen last night, by the way. Texans, Bills in Buffalo, AFC title game. But Are the Patriots the same team that went into Buffalo and won 23-20? Are they better? Are the Bills the same team that lost 23-20 to the Patriots, or are they better? And I think that's where I'm having the hardest time with this game. Anytime 17's on the field and he's got a cape, he's going to make plays, T. I don't know what to make of this one, but I also don't disagree with the line putting Buffalo in the favorite spot, because now at puckering time, we're going to really see what Drake May has in his bag of tricks.
No, you're 100% bang on there. Like, we've seen Drake May, what he can do in week 6 and week 7 when there's nothing on the line really. But now you're in week 15 and you have a division title on the line. How are you going to perform? So this is a very this matchup is very interesting, because New England has consistently kicked the crap out of teams that they should kick the crap out of, but good teams are one possession games. How many of these one possession games are you going to win? Maybe they'll win them all. I don't know. The thing that keeps in the back of my mind though is this team lost to the Raiders. And that I can't escape for some reason, that this team lost to Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was week 1, but I mean, I still get exactly what you're saying. For the Bills, they have the Patriots, then they're at Cleveland, game against Philly in Buffalo, and then a game against the Jets. When you flip it to the Patriots side, if we're talking about Buffalo having a realistic chance to catch anybody here, the Patriots, because of their positioning last year, have what you would think is an easier road, but I don't think it's as easy as we thought a couple weeks ago, Mac. This game against Buffalo, then they're at Baltimore on Sunday Night Football. That game was flexed yesterday. Then they're at the Jets, whatever, it's the Jets. And then they play a Dolphins team that actually still has some life here at the end of the season. I think the Patriots, while it looked like it a few weeks ago, Mac, they don't have as smooth of a road to the end here, and there still is a chance Buffalo could catch them.
I think to answer your question, I don't think that Buffalo has gotten any better since the last time they played the Patriots. I think the Patriots have gotten better. I think having the week off is going to help New England tremendously coming into this game. They've got the right guy in the right place, and Mike Vrabel, easy for you to say, and I think May is the deal. I think the Patriots win this game. I'll take the points. I don't need the points. Patriots win this one outright. Patriots are good.
Let's go to another team that a lot of people don't trust. Two teams that a lot of people don't trust. One specifically in the AFC. That's the Packers at Denver to take on the Broncos this week. The Broncos obviously still in the mix for the top spot in the AFC. Basically would have it right now because of the winning percentage in conference games. So Denver would be your 1, New England would be your 2. For Green Bay, they're second. But as we've seen just last week, Chicago went from 1st to 7th because of how volatile the top side of the NFC is here. I don't trust either one of these teams from an offensive standpoint. So when it comes down to it, what am I going to do? Well, I trusted Denver's defense to make the plays that they have to, and I've seen Jordan Love in big moments not be able to get the job done enough times for me to know I trust Denver in this game, because I trust Denver's defense to stop Green Bay's offense more than the other way around. So give me the Broncos at home against the Packers. T?
I'm going to play this one under 42.5.
What? TJ drops an under.
I'm going to play it under 42.5. I'm with you, though. I trust the Bronco defense way more than the vice president of the $55 million club.
Jesus. Mac, what do you got? Packers, Broncos.
I like Green Bay in this game. I think Green Bay wins this. I think Jordan Love's going to get it done. It's funny. It's when we least expect him to do it, he does. And this is I least expect him to do it. He's going to get it done kind of a game. I think Green Bay wins this game.
Mac and I on opposite ends of the fence here. It's like it feels like a head-to-head combat zone. So let's finish it up with one more head-to-head combat zone game. Lions and Rams in Los Angeles. Detroit, while they're not in Kansas City's position, they're up against it a little bit in their positioning in the NFC right here as they sit on the outside looking in. They finish with this game at the Rams. Then they have Pittsburgh. Then they're at Minnesota. And then, of course, that Week 18 game against Chicago. They're going to have to win at least one of the big games on this schedule, which is LA, Pittsburgh, and Chicago. At least one of those have to happen, and they can't slip up against Minnesota. I don't think this Lions team, as much as I don't like doing this, I don't know if this Lions team has it. But I will say this. If the Lions pack their defense and get after Stafford, if they can find a way to get that pressure, I think this turns into a very good game. Right now, I would lean more towards, I'm afraid that the Rams might drop kick Detroit out of the postseason, which I didn't pick them to go to the postseason. I think this is a very dangerous slope for Detroit here, Mac. What do you think? Your Lions and the Rams.
You know, I just can't talk about a team that I haven't got my trust up with. It's Detroit. It seems like every time I've kind of felt as though they're back, they're not really back. I think where I like the Rams in this, I just think from an offensive standpoint, I think the Rams are going to be able to put the numbers up. I still don't trust the Lions offense. That's their defense seems to be kind of settled down a little bit. I still have some questions about the Lions from an offensive standpoint. I think that makes all the difference in the world. I like the Rams in this one. And I don't mind giving up the 5.5. I think they'll be all right.
Tejota, finish us.
The last 3 times that the Rams have played the Lions in Los Angeles or maybe St. Louis, I don't remember. Yeah, probably both. Detroit hasn't had a prayer when they've played this team on the road. So I'm going to go with past performance. I'm taking the Rams.
All right, there you go. Lions on the money line. It is. All right, it's time of that part of the program for Liquid Locks. They are our version of best bets because they're as solid as water. And the theme on this show is always watch the entire damn video before you start talking shit. And number 2, play them straight, play them together. That's entirely up to you. Our friends at Pickett Sports, so far in the year 2025, and I know Bill Krackenberger, if he's watching this, is probably smiling that I brought this up because we talked about this exact thing when he joined us a little while ago. It's about time to get Crack back on. 41.3 million parlays that have missed by one leg for a potential profit loss to us, the rec bettors, of $8.3 billion. Stop adding the extra leg to your parlay. Straights are not as fun, but there's way more times that you don't start hating people and stop watching this and turn into, in a worst case scenario, one of those NFL is rigged idiots. Speaking of not NFL things, I'll start us off. Army-Navy this weekend, and I'm not going for the prototypical easy low-hanging fruit of an over-under bet on this game because those are miserable when the total is at like 30-something points. What I've noticed in this series, and there is some statistical data to back it up slightly, the underdog with the points typically tends to play pretty close to that number in this game. And this year, I think both Army and Navy are fairly even teams, to be honest with you. I don't see a sizable gap in between the two of them. I love watching this game. I love that it's a standalone game. It is still one of the right things about college football that outside of the FCS playoffs, it stands by itself this weekend. That's a lot of fun. Give me Army plus 6.5. The Texans are hosting the Cardinals this week. And that Texans defense, we talked about it, plus 1,200 to win the AFC. They are on absolute fire right now. I'm looking for some exotic markets for this one. One of our very loyal followers and watchers of the program, our guy Billy V, sent me a text today. And he goes, I don't know if the Texans are going to score this weekend. And I went, or if the Cardinals are going to score this weekend. And I went, Cardinals on the road, already banged up, a lot of guys out. I wonder if I could, maybe some exact score magic here, but I'm definitely going to lay the 9.5 points because I think there's a chance the Cardinals could not score this weekend on that Texans defense. So minus 9.5 on the Texans, Army plus 6.5. TJ, take it away. The first of what is going to be about 24 hours of a lot of picks from me and you.
I'm going to do a SoFi Stadium parlay this weekend. I'm going to start on Saturday.
UCLA hasn't started playing there yet.
I know. But, you got a team that's leaving the Mountain West to head to the Pac-12 versus a team that left the Pac-12 that went to a conference that they have no business playing in whatsoever. And that's Boise State and Washington. And I've got Boise State plus 9.5 in this game. I think Boise State's offense is going to be a little bit too much for Washington to handle. I'm not saying that Washington's not going to win, but I think Boise keeps it close. Plus, it's indoors for the most part. And that offense this game is just it's going to be fantastic. I wish I could watch it, but I'm going to a party instead. And then the next day, so Boise and the Huskies are going to warm up the field for the Rams and the Lions. I don't think the Lions have a prayer in this game, but I'm going to take over. I got it at 55.5 because the Lions are at that point where they're in desperation mode. And every time they give up, it's going to be a freaking pinball machine up and down this field.
The funny thing about that game is I can bet the Rams to totally cover the spread. And I also have a thought in my head of Jahmyr Gibbs for 200 total yards and 2 touchdowns. One of those two things is going to happen. Mac, he went in the support of the Mama Mac bucked up LA Bowl for Boise State. I am on Boise State plus 9.5. The floor is yours for the segment you created. Have at it. Oh, really? That's interesting.
It was UConn soccer.
Everything came unplugged. Hold on. All right, we're good.
I can hear you now.
Oh, I was leaning back. Everything came unplugged.
This thing was unplugged from 5 minutes in. Keep going.
So I usually have a couple of themes. I have 2 themes this week. 13 is not always a good number to be betting. So I have a 13 theme here. And I also have my 2 teams that I picked to make the playoffs. I picked both these teams to make the playoffs, and it looks like they're both not going to make the playoffs. So here we go. Both these games, 13.5. I got this is really kind of masterful. I got the team that I can't really bet on, the Jacksonville Jaguars, minus 13.5 against the New York Jets, who I thought were going to make the playoffs. Freaking dumbass that I am.
Did you miss the runway with that one?
God, yeah, I did. I missed the runway. Yeah, no joke. Put me down on the friggin' Hudson. And then I got the other one. Who do I got? I got the Seahawks minus 13.5. I hate to say this, but there's no friggin' way the Colts are making the playoffs. It was good while it lasted, but that bad boy's over. So both those games, 13.5. The don't bet them Jacksonville Jaguars and the Colts.
That was the worst fucking sales pitch I've ever heard in my life. He's in the middle of it and he goes, "This is masterful right here." Jesus. We're gonna get Mac a shirt next season, T. Since we're buying everybody new clothes, you're getting a Caleb Williams jersey. Mac's gonna have a shirt next year that says "I heart the Jaguars," and then it's gonna have a little flip window like this that he can just close it for "I don't heart the Jaguars." Yeah, I think we're onto something there.
I'm in.
What are you doing? This is a family show, Sharon. Put your stuff away.
Little white man can't jump.
Jesus. You know what? Why don't you take the rest of the week off? How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
Lunchtime Live tomorrow and Friday. T and I are going to give you a gift. and still give you a reason to love the bowl season. We'll tell you about that tomorrow. We're going to talk about Thursday night football and Kirko Chains in primetime against the Buccaneers, who are getting a lot of able bodies back, as well as some other thoughts in college football. TJ, any final thoughts before we reconvene in, well, I don't know, math is hard, like 14 hours? Probably not right. Just run with it.
I've got a lot of work to do, but you know what? There's still runway for the Bears to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, you keep hoping and praying and slim and nunning it, and you do whatever you need to do. Maybe I could just, bust out another jersey that I write a whole phrase on the nameplate for you with a specific number, like a Mike Gundy jersey. Vegas Mac, do you have any final parting words for the week before you are done for the week? You need a break. The Jaguars have stressed you out so much this year.
Yeah, and the reason I could bet on the Jaguars is because I've taken them off the list. I've added two new teams to my list. I am no longer talking about that team in Pennsylvania that wears black and gold. I am not talking about them anymore.
Mustard.
And I am also not talking about that team that is in Massachusetts that you wear on your feet. I am done. I don't want to say the words, but I'm not talking about them anymore.
Yeah. You didn't park the car in the yard there. You parked the car right into the freaking $1 million view with that one. Lost me from step one. All right. Lunchtime live tomorrow, 11:30 on the West Coast, 2:30 on the East Coast. Same bat time on Friday as well. Final thoughts. We've got a YouTube TV update that we'll give you tomorrow. Some exciting news if it actually friggin' happens. But it'll only happen for a couple months, then they'll raise the rate again. Plenty of stuff to go around. Plenty of stuff still going on tonight as we speak. So for everybody behind the scenes, for Vegas Mac, for TJ, we will talk with you tomorrow on Lunchtime Live. You know the drill.